What's up, Andrew Packer? Welcome to the Puzhitsky podcast. Puzhitsky. Say that again?
Puzhitsky?
Yeah, that's good. You got the zh.
Nice.
The ZH. Usually people fuck that up.
Nice. It must be in my, somewhere deep in my roots.
What's your background?
Who knows?
Who knows? Just ambiguously Caucasian?
Yes.
Not black. Oh, thank you for the candy.
Thank you very much.
Jamie Vernon, actually, in the background there. Pull it up, Jamie.
Hey.
Yeah. Would you get some late night caffeine? What'd you get?
Yeah, double spro with a splash of oat milk. That's my
Oh, that's exactly what I get, but on ice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Even
Yeah,
when
it's
it's
good
cold.
on ice too.
It's the cheapest thing at Starbucks. It's like $3.20 something.
I think drip is the cheapest thing at Starbucks.
Just a drip coffee?
Yeah.
Is it cheaper than $3?
I'm challenging you on this predicament. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's cheaper.
I mean, I'd pull it up on
A double spro is always a premium item as opposed to like drip coffee. Drip coffee is the lowest. I love it, but it's the lowest level of
I
coffee.
prefer the espresso.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I'm late night espresso, morning drip.
Yeah.
That's what I'm addicted.
So you're like a big coffee guy. How many coffees a day?
2.
2?
Yeah, I limit at 2. I can't. If I do more than 2, it's not good for my psyche.
Yeah. I don't have a limit. I probably should. I kind of just play it by ear.
Nice.
And if I'm, jumping off the walls, I cut it down. But recently I've been trying not to have coffee past like 4 p.m. So that's a bold move.
Oh yeah, no, I'll do it all the way. Yeah, 9 p.m.
9 p.m.
Yes,
and
I'll have
you
a
don't mind
coffee.
sleeping?
Doesn't seem to be an issue.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
All right, cool. I guess you're built different.
Yeah, I'm a pretty tough guy. I'll be having coffee late.
Yeah. Fucking
Watch it.
whatever. Send me over to Ukraine. I'll take care of business right now.
Pretty tough guy.
No, but I feel like I have been needing to have a coffee later because of stand up, because you want to stay awake. And especially if it's like a few nights in a row. Man, I've been like the past 3 weeks, I was in like 3 different time zones, like back to back to back. And that's where I really needed the coffee.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I guess. But when we're in Toronto, got to wake up and do you do stand up full time, I guess?
Yeah.
So you don't
stand up
have
in
to-
content.
Yeah.
No, I'm a lead anchor too. So
Oh yes, lead anchor for
yeah.
Man News. I'm
very
sure.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you do before you decided to pursue comedy full time?
I was in sales.
Sales. So we talked about it a little bit. You had like a corporate job.
Yeah, but it was work from home, so that was clutch.
Oh my God, that's
perfect.
perfect.
I never worked in an office, and I'm very grateful for that.
So you had the flexibility to kind of still pursue stand up, and maybe some of the late nights didn't affect you as much if you had to like go in.
Yeah, because
the
I already
office.
started doing stand up before I got that corporate job, so I was very much looking for something that would allow me to save money and continue doing comedy.
Yeah.
So.
That makes sense. And what do you think made you pursue comedy full time as opposed to stay with the corporate job?
Oh, it was never, when I had the corporate job, it was always just stuff as much money in a bag until this ends.
Yeah.
That was always the mentality.
I feel
it
you.
was never going to be, at no point during that corporate job was I like, this is my career. No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel you. I have a master's degree in synthetic organic chemistry. So
Flex.
yeah, no flex.
What is synthetic organic chemistry?
I know
That
how-
sounds like it's contradicting itself.
Yeah.
Synthetic organic.
So there's inorganic and organic, but synthetic just means that my specific area of expertise is making the drugs. I'm literally Walter White level.
Okay.
Yeah. But actually Walter White was a fucking high school teacher. So
Yeah.
maybe
You're even above him.
yeah, I'm
Walter
above,
White.
I'm above the one who knocks, bitch.
Yeah.
I am the one who knocks. No, but basically it's when you literally make the drugs, like synthesis, right? So my job was to take like organic molecules that would be useful for whatever reason. And my group focused on medicinal chemistry and make them. And at this point, science is advanced enough that most molecules have been made and there is no secret, like, everything's like patented. And if you want to make something, you can make it. But as like a synthetic chemist, you can also call them like process chemists. My job was basically to find more efficient ways to make these things. So if you take something like a very common drug everybody will know, I don't know, like ibuprofen, right? Like Advil, like that's like multi-billion, probably even $1 trillion business, like they're making the drug, and you make it on such a big scale that like you can make it in a lab, but on the like macro ton scale that it's made on, you have to take into consideration facts like heating and like how much water you use, right? So my thing was kind of making that as efficient as possible. So literally like taking a reaction that you would have to do at 5 degrees, or sorry, like, I don't know, something above room temperature, like 20 degrees, and lowering that to room temperature, 15 degrees, whatever, that's huge if you amplify that to like industrial quantities. But
Jeez, how long did you do this for?
like total from like undergrad is 4 years, and then my master's was 2 and change, so like something like 7 years.
And that was all in school? Because sounds like, so you were learning how to do it, or were you like working in the field for a bit?
So undergrad is just like undergrad, and then I did a research master's, so I was actually doing like, I had a research project. So I was in the lab every day working, and I was actually working, the project was sponsored by a company called Roche, which is a big pharmaceutical company in like Switzerland.
Okay.
So it wasn't really in the field, but I was in a lab working and kind of learning, you know, on the job kind of, so to speak, because we were kind of tied to industry, but also they know that we're just grad students, so they wouldn't, you know, give us so many responsibilities. And I would also be TAing, which is like just teaching undergrads and stuff. So it was kind of like, it's still a master's, but it's like a research-based master's.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of practical stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But yeah, it was as much as I worked in like, not sales, but like, I don't know, like quality control one summer for like an engineering company, which is like a desk job. And I immediately knew it's not for me.
Yeah. No. I mean, thank God there are people that can. You know?
Yeah.
So that's good.
Somebody has to do it. But, you know, I feel you. But it's good that you got to work from home. And like the content, I also do some content. So I guess, do you like, you know, do you feel like, do you ever feel like you have like a cognitive, you know, dissonance between your content creation and your stand-up? You know what I'm talking about?
Like, no, I don't.
Okay, so
I want more clarity.
Personally, I feel like when I get recognized on the street, right? Somebody's, oh, like you're that dude from TikTok or whatever, right? And I'm like, yeah, sure, but like in my heart of hearts, I'm like, I want them to say you're that comedian. You know what I mean? So like, do you, even though, and we'll get into this a little later, I feel like both are they feed into each other very well. Do you ever feel like like the effort you have to put into content overshadows what you want to be doing with stand-up, or maybe the recognition you get from one or the other? You know what I mean?
I can relate definitely to that feeling. The way that I kind of have tackled that is that whole thing of, because I don't have a conventional job right now. Like I've been just kind of doing comedy related stuff the past 5 years, and if I'm feeling like that about my content, then I think, well, thank God that what I'm doing is at least in the comedy realm during the day, because for so many years I was working full time all day doing something that could just like pay my bills and feed myself, you know, and then that had no relation to comedy other than just lived experience, which, you know, is useful. So there is that. If you're doing that right now, like you're living something that's relatable to so many people, so you can eventually have that seep into your comedy, or maybe it will or not. But the fact that I'm like, I wake up, I write jokes, I'll write sketch, and then I'll shoot sketch, and then I usually crash around like between 4 and 6. I'm like dead, so I'll like either go work out or pass out, and then research for the evening and be writing stand-up and doing stand-up and writing before I go on stage because I'm stressed, and the whole thing, you know. So it all is just kind of life as a comedian in this day and age. You know?
I can relate to that for sure, because I have the same kind of routine, right? Sketch, nap for sure. I relate to you on that. Big napper with the coffee. I usually have a coffee before my nap, which is interesting. That's kind of a weird play.
And you're calling me crazy.
Yeah.
You're insane.
No, but it works. There's that
How does that work? How does that work?
Caffeine is not.
Wait, you have the coffee and then you go directly into the nap.
Yeah, and then the caffeine
insane.
spike, because again, like you have to think you're drinking the coffee, it goes into your stomach. It's not going into your blood right away. There's a little delay. How long are your naps?
But I don't know, like when I'm having a spro, this one, I feel it immediately. Immediately, I'm like, we're buzzing here.
Yeah, that could be.
I don't understand the delay.
But that's kind of like, that's the peak, and then like as it kind of gets out of your blood, you know what I mean? Like you immediately, I don't think it's immediate. I don't know what the fucking. I am a.
You're a scientist,
chemist,
but you didn't study this.
No,
Okay.
I didn't study the caffeine release in blood, but the half-life, you would call it, actually.
Okay.
But where are we? Oh yeah, we were talking about the content creator lifestyle. I also hate that fucking name, content creator.
It is a little pompous.
Yeah.
The only other thing that's called a
influencer.
creator. Influencers for sure. Yeah, it's like calling someone a vegan. Like no one wants to identify that. They're like, I just don't eat meat. Like
yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, it is a little pompous. The only other creator that there is like when people are talking about religion. So it's kind of like it's a big name.
Yeah, that is a big name. Yeah. Content creator or just creator. But influencer is still worse. It's between influencer and creator. I don't think I influence people too much. You might have influenced me to start drinking more coffee, but I don't know. So I guess you are an influencer by nature.
We all are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I like to influence people on stage. Sometimes I do it in my daily life. But so do you ever miss the safety net of having a job, or you don't care? You feel like
like sometimes I think about it, but then you have to. You can't just pick little pieces of things that you want. You know, you have to take it all or you don't. So then I imagine doing whatever that thing is, and I can't do anything but what I'm doing right now. And so I'm in so deep.
Yeah.
I just need to keep going deeper.
I feel you. I'm way kind of less down the road than you are at your point in the career, but I also feel like, because I just graduated like last August, and I made the decision not to get that full-time job and just to fucking jump into this, and so far it's been going great, and I feel like
you've had quite the year, dude.
Yeah, not a bad year.
I think of comics in their first year of comedy, you've achieved and experienced like so much more than most comics in the first 5 years.
Yeah. So here's awesome. The thing.
Kudos to you, dude.
Here's the thing. Little known fact. I guess like it's a weird question when people ask me how long have I been doing comedy, because I've technically been doing it for 5 years.
I didn't know that. Okay.
My first open mic was right before the pandemic. Like I did 2 open mics at just a bar this is just like a general open mic, right? I was like one of the, I think there were like the first time there were like 2 comedians and then just people like playing guitar and singing.
Okay.
And then everything shut down for 3 years. And I kind of had a bunch of material, because initially to do this open mic, I'd been like a fan of comedy for a while. I was cleaning out my office at my parents' house, and I found a picture that I drew of myself when I was in like grade whatever in art class, like bombing on stage. It was like a comic book strip.
Oh, cool.
I was literally, first strip is me going like a guy walks into a bar, and then the second one is ouch and like crickets in the crowd and me with a mic. So it's been in my head for a while, and I finally decided to do it when I was like, I don't know, whatever, 2019, before the pandemic. And then that shit happened. And I kind of use that material as much as you can for like content. I'm like, fuck it. I have a phone. I'll just put this shit on TikTok, just like talking to my camera, write some sketches. And that kind of started going well. And then when the pandemic ended, I kind of just hopped right in with like a small following and already kind of like some momentum.
Sick.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But then like I can't say, because I literally like before the pandemic, before everything shut down, and we're in Toronto, maybe if you're in Texas or whatever, it's different, but I can't count those 3 years as like.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. I mean, everyone, like, comics always ask you just to size you up or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's irrelevant to anybody. Like, literally, as long as if the crowd's laughing, then it's, that's all that really matters. But it's hard to keep, it's so easier to just say that than, to do it. It's still people sizing you up, and you want to,
Yeah, man. And I hate that, because, like, I get that a lot in Toronto. Like... of like, just because of like some of the things I've done in not a long period of time, or like some of the opportunities I've had, and then now I just want to get some stage time on a random night where I don't have any, and like I can't, or producers telling me like just kind of being like, oh, how long have you been doing comedy? I'm like, this long. And they're kind of treat you different. You know what I mean? I've had it to the point where I was at a club and I did a showcase at one of these places where you have to like sign up to do the open mic. And I did very well to the point where the guy that does the sign up is like, how long have you been doing this for? That was really good. And I said at the time, it was like, I said like, whatever, like a year. And then as soon as I said that, his kind of expression changed, and from being like complimentary to being like, oh, like you should keep doing this, do this. I didn't like that, add that tag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
big dog in you?
Yeah. I need like a better answer for this where I can just like say it and brush it off. What do you think? 5 years or 2 years? Or like,
I don't know, man. You just gotta roll with it. I don't know. I have no good answer for that. I've been doing it like a little, like I remember going through all those years of like, this is how long I've been doing it, and it's just,
yeah.
I mean, people are either gonna support you or not,
Yeah.
and that's really what it comes down to. And not everyone's gonna support you, and that sucks. But
Yeah.
You watch where these people end up to over time, and it's, you know, if you're working hard, you just keep leapfrogging people. So it's fine.
Yeah, just blinders on, do your thing.
Yeah.
I got some, you know, I rubbed shoulders with some pretty cool people in the past few weeks, and I got some good advice. And the main piece of advice that kind of stuck out for me was when I was talking to a pretty big comic, and they said it's show business underscore double circle highlight business.
Yeah.
Like, because I was in Austin and Vancouver and doing all these cool shows, and I kind of saw myself that a lot of these people are super talented. Some of them are, and again, comedy is subjective, so it's like, who am I to say you're good or you're not? But we kind of got on the topic of how much do you think talent plays a role in success in this business that we call comedy? And they're like, dude, it's not even like, in my mind, my number would be like, I'd say like 50%, right? And then the rest is whatever, like putting yourself out there, making connections, you know, like doing the right thing, working hard. This person said literally like something like 10%. I was kind of shocked. What do you think? What's your number?
Yeah, probably 10%. Yeah.
So you're more on the low side.
Yeah. I know so many such talented comics that I've, you know, had the pleasure of sharing the stage with and crossing paths with, and so many of them just they just don't have the full package. And yeah, show business, you know, it is what it is, but it's hard too, because like you get into this with the dream, you know, the dream, things will fall into place, I'll just be talented, I'll get discovered, I'll be the prodigy of this thing, and then, you know, years go by and it's hard because you're gonna have to kill this, I mean, not kill the dream because the dream exists, but like kill that original version of the dream that you thought it was. Yeah. Because you're in it now, and in order to be in it, you have to take in reality. And yeah, there's just some people that decide to not take in reality, or decide to not, or don't have the, I don't know, not everyone decides to, everyone has different upbringings and all that fun stuff. But yeah, it is unfortunate that a lot of people can't survive just off talent.
Yeah. And I feel like also, like, yes, you have to be realistic and take in reality, as you were saying, but also to a certain extent, to make it in fucking show business, you have to be somewhat delusional. You have to really believe in yourself to the extent that, like, because, like, every single opportunity that I've had hasn't been because, like, it's realistically, if I trace back the steps, it's mostly luck, right? And I took advantage of the opportunity. That's a big thing, right? Like, luck, if you give the same kind of lucky bounce to two different people, they might treat it very differently. So that's a big part of the thing, like taking advantage of an opportunity when it's presented. But kind of like I am lucky enough that, like, again, like very early on, I'm able to kind of stay afloat, pay the bills, kind of doing what I'm doing. But looking back at kind of like a year and a bit ago when I was deciding whether or not to get a job, I'm like, holy fuck, that was pretty ballsy not to get the job. Because I'm like, how the fuck did I know that it would have worked? Sometimes you just have to have that blind delusion, right? And it kind of falls into place.
Yeah. Trust, faith. Yeah. Something.
Whatever. All that gay stuff. So yeah, the safety net, as much as it's nice, I feel like all the best, I asked you, like, do you miss your job, your safety net? It's pretty easy. I don't think anybody really dreams. Maybe some people do, but nobody dreams to sit behind a desk and like send off emails all day, which actually is not a small part of what we do. I feel like I send a lot of emails myself. I don't have a manager or whatever yet. So
yeah,
there is, with every, like, you might think it's like super glamorous or whatever, there's still a lot of that regular everyday kind of shit that you have to do, right?
totally.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing, like, did you start with social media or stand up? How did your kind of like path for, in general, in comedy, including social media, like how did that whole timeline unfold?
I mean, social media really wasn't what it is today when I started stand-up comedy. I mean, in social media years, 10 years is like a long time.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
so I've been doing stand-up about 10 years now, and it was mainly, I acknowledged that it was important, but I couldn't figure out really how to work the like Instagram, get it working or get it really growing when I wasn't like before the short form content started to really roll out with TikTok and all that. And I didn't really care too much, to be honest, because all I cared about was just getting funny on stage, and it's gratifying to get laughs every night and be out every night and do sets all the time. I was doing and Toronto was a different beast back then too. When I started, there was so many open mics and shows that you could do 4 open mics every night of the week in the scene.
Really?
Easy. And most of them would be shit, but it really developed my stage personality, because I needed that when I was starting out. I was almost doing a presentation. But then then when the pandemic hit, I just worked up the ranks over time, and then I moved out to Vancouver for a bit, went out to Asia, and
nice. I didn't know that.
The pandemic hit, and then that really just, I didn't think that was possible. The whole reason I loved comedy, I was like, no matter what negative thing happens in my life, I'll be able to turn it into jokes. And then the pandemic hit, and I was
You're like, fuck.
Ooh, got me, universe. That was a blind spot I did not see coming. On my very small, personal point of view, I know the pandemic was earth shattering for everybody, but so then I just switched gears and tried to do TikTok, and I luckily have a few friends that were kind of making progress at that, and that's so key, just to have people that are around you that are working in the same area and doing well. And so Nima Naz, Cheda Reina, like they were both working really hard at it, and so I used that as inspiration to keep working hard at it. And then I had something to offer after the pandemic, similar to you.
Yeah. That is actually a good point. I've being an influencer, I've met other influencers, and
you're embracing the term, man.
Yeah,
I've never called myself an influencer,
or fucking whatever you like. OnlyFans.
No, call whatever you want, man.
Content creator. I actually don't like influencer either. I would
love
use
Influencers in the Wild is my favorite Instagram page. It's so good. Have you seen that one?
I think I have. Is that the one where they find people doing those TikTok dances on the fucking subway or whatever? Yeah,
or it'll be just like a family hanging out at the beach, and then right next to them is some girl twerking, and as the water is just lapping up onto her, and you're like, are you not taking in your surroundings at all?
Yeah. Which, to be fair, I have found myself in that situation sometimes as a content creator. I've had to do some pretty awkward shit.
You've been twerking on the beach?
Okay, well, not twerking on the beach.
Just flailing in a thong?
Yeah.
Classic Matt.
I actually, I'm a little bit of a, tough point in my Instagram right now. I really need to take it to that next step, and I've put some things together, and I feel like that's what I need to do.
Launch that OnlyFans.
I've been going to the gym my whole life. I never really capitalized on the fitness thing. I tried to do a few videos explaining the effects of steroids and stuff, be a scientist, but I feel like I've been doing squats, so I'm just going to show off my ass,
Have you ever done steroids?
No, I haven't.
No?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
True.
I've made them.
You've made steroids?
No, steroids. I mean, you can...
Not anabolic, just like other steroids.
You can make, I guess you can synthetically make steroids, but most steroids are just hormones, so they're kind of just naturally sourced. You're just extracting steroids from whatever, right?
I didn't know
I actually don't know where most commonly steroids are, say testosterone. I don't know where that's sourced. Probably some kind of cow, or I don't know, fucking know.
It's just one dude who's like...
just one really jacked dude that's
it's like Liver King's brother, and he's just hooked up to shit.
And then they clone him, and every time that guy dies, they just got another one off the treadmill. Just fucking, Jimmy, your brother's dead, your turn. That's probably what they're doing with Biden too, honestly. But yeah, so I don't know, like, I don't know if the influencer route. Yeah, we were talking about fucking, yeah, my brain just. We were talking about being an influencer in the wild. So I made this like this kind of like song that I'm gonna release pretty soon. It's like a comedy rap kind of thing, and I had to do like a music video for it. And I had like my buddies who are YouTubers that are also like killing it online. They're doing like they have a bunch of subscribers on YouTube. They're very good editors. I have no idea, like in terms of cinematography, as much as I know, it's all I've learned doing these stupid skits that I post on Instagram, which is cool. It's cool to like learn that stuff, and I'm sure you have as well. How to use equipment. I've seen you done. You've done my show, and then I've seen you at other shows bring your DSLR with the mic and stuff. And I always ask you questions like, right, with the lens. I always want to learn about that kind of side of things, but for this, I wanted to make it a little better. So they were like fucking directing me and shit. And we were in public places where I had like an AirPod in, and I was just like lip syncing this stupid rap song in front of the fucking CN Tower. And I felt like a dick, but I think the video's going to look pretty cool. So stay tuned for that. Nice. I did it for you guys, for the people. All right. Watch it get like 2 views. Do you feel like that with your content? Like the stuff you're very excited for and put a lot of work in just flops, but the shit that you like, have this stupid idea, film it 15 seconds, fucking 20 million views.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah.
One day I want to be right. I posted something today that was like my favorite stand-up clip that I've edited in a while.
Yeah.
And I just know it's going to get like, I mean, I think it's going to do well, but that's why it's not going to do well.
Yeah, I just know it's, yeah. That's why I almost like, I'm like, that's my life right now. I have an idea, and as soon as I'm excited about it, a little voice in my head goes, just chill. Like, don't say anything. Even if like your heart of hearts, you know you're excited about it, just put on a poker face and post that shit.
Totally.
Sometimes it hits, sometimes it doesn't. So so you were saying that before kind of the age of social media, stand-up was your main thing, and yeah, you surrounded yourself with people like Che. I know of, I've never met him. Nima, obviously, as well. I know of, never met him. Ryan Long's another Toronto guy that kills it on social media and kind of made it out to New York, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I feel like inevitably you probably just saw that like a lot of people hate on social media, right? A lot of comedians specifically that are not successful on social media hate on social media, but that's like the way to go these days, because like at the end of the day, you know, like what are you gonna do, like Tonight Show or whatever? No, like everything I've had that's good in my stand-up career has been due to social media, which is like, say what you want, but it is kind of what it is. So you just kind of realized that and started working on it.
Yeah, just embracing. I mean, it's just a numbers game. Like, it's insane the amount of reach. You can either embrace technology or just get left behind. And it's like the kid who rips on the test as being stupid because he didn't study, because he didn't think he could. Even if he studied, then he would have to confront the fact that he's dumb. You know, it's like that. So a lot of people will just shit on social media because it's a lot of work, and it's something that they don't quite understand. But I remember I would like riffed this joke during the whole Amber Heard and Johnny Depp thing, and I clipped it up immediately. There were 10 people in the audience. It wasn't like a great show, so I was kind of fucking around a lot. Yeah. And then riffed something, and I liked it, and it fit nicely. So then I clipped it up and I put it on all my platforms, and collectively it got 750,000 views. So it's just like a numbers thing at that point, where as a comedian, you're like 10 people saw me and went, this is a funny guy. Yeah. And then now 750,000 people saw it and then went, you know, some of them probably shit on it, but you know, a bunch of people now think that I'm a funny guy. So that's just, numbers game is just insane.
Yeah, because as a stand-up comedian, what are you doing? What's your product? It's putting butts in seats, right? You're selling tickets. So it's kind of like
business side, that's
eyeballs. Every single eyeball you get to your channel, whether it's through your stand-up clip, whether it's through menus, whether it's through a sketch you post, or just eyeballs saying, oh, who's this guy? They click on your page. He does stand up. They click the link. Some of them buy it. Some of them don't. But if you're like on like the numbers you get, right? Like literally millions of views, and like, you know, you'd be surprised how many people actually click and buy. So yeah, get eyeballs, sell tickets. and fuck, who knows? Do
Have fun.
Netflix, yeah, have fun. Yeah, most importantly is to have fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how successful you are. It's just as long as you have fun. I don't care who wins. No, but that's true. And so you said you had trouble at first doing social media. Like you had.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like Instagram was hard to grow for a lot of years. There was it was rewarding just only kind of people that already had some type of fame from other places. And then some people were able to curate and build stuff, but I just couldn't figure out how to do that for myself.
What was your first platform to like that you popped off on? TikTok?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. TikTok blew up.
And then YouTube and then Instagram, or
TikTok, and then I think it was then, and then Instagram started kicking up a bit, and then YouTube really took the reins.
Yeah. This is the same thing for me. I TikTok and then Instagram, and YouTube has not blown up yet, but slowly posting shorts and like numbers are going up.
Mirrors how they've all competed for short form.
Yeah. And honestly, the growth on both TikTok, Instagram, and now YouTube, I'm seeing is the exact same kind of curve, and time wise too, because like I started on TikTok, nothing, couple thousand, couple 100,000, couple million, and then it like just right. And then Instagram was the same thing. Even though it's weird, I feel like Instagram now for me has slowed down, but I don't know, it's like, who knows, it's a beast. Like it's hard to, the algorithm, people keep saying the algorithm. I always try to avoid, you don't like the word influencers, I don't like the word algorithm. I always see it like it's just people watching your content, and if they like it, they will engage or whatever. So it's just like if the video does well, the video will blow up. Like if the video is funny, if people like it, it will blow up. It's not about like hashtags and posting time or all that shit. I feel like, I don't know if you find that important at all, but
I mean, I think for some people there are better times to post than not to post, just for the type of stuff that you do.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it could even see like, because some people make dirtier content, and it's just like, imagine people's psyche at like 9 a.m. Most people are like,
okay,
I don't know if I want to look at a like flapping. Maybe some people all hours of the day they want to see some ass.
Yeah,
but, I think most people in that realm, it's like a lot to take in the morning.
Yeah.
So people do something later where people are just more in that headspace or whatever, and not just like sexual stuff, but like if people are coming out of school and like those kinds of times, like the posting time kind of does play into effect. But the thing is, if you post a lot, then it doesn't really matter because you're just posting all the time.
But then you're also looking at time zones, right? Like if you have enough followers, you probably have followers kind of spread out all over the world. So inevitably, if even if you cater to wherever you have the most followers, you're gonna fuck over some people. Some people, if most of your followers are in New York and you post your ass at 9:00 at night, somebody in fucking, I don't know, Nicaragua is gonna see it at 9 a.m. and you can't do anything about it. So
totally,
I don't know if that time difference is correct, but you get my point. But so you struggled a little bit at first, and then it kind of popped off. And I feel like, so for you, lead anchor at Man News, that's the kind of series that just blew up for you, right? That's like guaranteed numbers everywhere across the board, and it kind of built like your social media presence, right?
Yeah, that's where most people recognize me from.
Yeah, fair. And so my question to you, because I have a similar-ish thing where I have like a certain series, like Americans in Europe or whatever in Canada, that does well. And I'm trying to expand on that and like kind of creatively, because it's not that I get tired of it. It's just there's only so much of, actually in your case, like kudos to you, because there is like an unlimited amount of content for that, because you can just like take videos of people throwing rocks and stuff and be very creative with it. So that's a great kind of little niche to have, because I feel like for you it's almost, at least again from the outsider's perspective, it's unlimited, right? You can keep doing that and it stays entertaining because it's just the nature of your thing.
I mean, it's the news cycle, it never sleeps, so
yeah, exactly. So
it's not even up to me, it's just really if the men see something that they think that the other men need to see, they send it to me and I ensure that happens.
So you have more of like a societal pressure on you. You feel like
it's really a selfless role. It's not about me at all.
Yeah.
It's just about informing the men.
That's damn, man. That's I never really looked at it that way. I guess I was looking at it from like a creator's, an influencer's point of view.
Not at all. No, it's a responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Respect. That's cool, man. Yeah, I'm never going to look at you the same. That's really cool.
Yeah. Well,
You do make the world a better place, you know? Respect.
not all heroes wear capes. Some of them wear
Suits.
with no pants on.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes, though, you decide to wear pants. Do you find your videos no? Never?
If you see me in a suit, assume I'm not wearing pants, because
All
that's probable.
All right. Okay.
I did not get into this business to put on pants. Okay.
Did it to wear flip-flops and my boxers.
That's exactly
cool.
it.
That's awesome.
That's my avatar on Snap, by the way. If you add me on Snap, you'll see my avatar with suit jacket and then shorts and then flip-flops.
Yeah. Soon to be the avatar on OnlyFans as well, or whichever site you prefer to use. So yeah, my thing was with my series, I kind of felt like I had a bunch of ideas, but I almost felt guilty to keep posting the same thing, and I was almost getting tired of it, right? Mm-hmm. So to keep it natural, I tried to mix it up, and I'm really happy that I did, and I didn't keep relying on that Americans in Canada series, because I found a few gems kind of like just now starting to take off. I have this character that's like Uncle Ivan or whatever, like an Eastern European kind of parent, and you kind of feel like when I'm writing, and I don't know if you have this for your skits, do you ever have a scenario where you have a bit that turns into a skit or vice versa? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely happened. One of like my stand-up jokes came out as just stand-up wasn't happening, so it came out as a TikTok and then went into the act.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have the exact same thing. I have like a video that I did, but yeah, so it's I guess if you have a good premise in your head, you kind of see where you want to take it, where it kind of fits better, like under like the bits category or the skits category, but sometimes it just kind of takes its course and it's one or the other and you don't have too much control of it. You kind of takes on its own life. Which is cool because, like you said, right? Like it's a job you have during the day that feeds into your stand-up, right?
Yeah,
and it's completely
a creative thing. So,
yeah, completely. So you said you spent some time in Vancouver.
Yeah, I lived there for over a year.
Over a year? When?
Yeah, 2018 to 2019.
18, 19. Okay, so this is just pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
How was the stand-up scene there?
Great when I was there.
Okay,
it was fantastic. I think it's doing really well now too. It went through a little bit of a dark period, but. Because a bunch of clubs closed down, but then it was like there was the comedy mix, there was the Yuck Yucks downtown, and then there was the comedy basement. It was this perfect little room to work out in. It was always hot, and you could always just find new stuff in your jokes and stuff. And the comedy scene was great. It was smaller, but still a lot of talent. And because it was smaller, it felt like it was a little bit more one big scene as opposed to a bunch of little fragmented cliques, which kind of Toronto was at that time.
Okay.
So it was, I really had a great time in Vancouver.
Okay, cool. I think that's interesting, yeah, because I was just there for a couple of nights, but like the city-wise, Vancouver was, I caught it on a really good couple of days because this was like last week, so here it was pretty cold, but there it was basically end of February and it was like 10 degrees.
The best. I love that.
Yeah, kind of like some cloud cover, sun peeking through. I went on a bike ride around like Stanley Park,
beautiful,
the ocean wall, and you just get that like the Pacific like sea like smell, and you're like, oh my god,
so relaxing.
I don't know if I was like romanticizing it because it's like a new place.
No, it's perfect.
It's cool, right? It's better than fucking exhaust and like slush.
Oh, so much better. I would live there if it wasn't for stand up.
Yeah,
and my family.
Yeah, okay, fair. So I'm not the only one, and I was there with my fiance. She fucking loved it too. And so you enjoyed it better.
Oh,
you
enjoyed it more. I loved my life in Vancouver. I still love all my friends there. I'm going again at the end of the month.
Nice.
I'll be headlining at Comedy After Dark.
Okay. Cool.
March 24th or something like that.
Check it out. Okay.
Yeah.
Comedy After Dark. Yeah. And I wish I got to check out the stand-up scene there. But just as a place to live, I was like, I can see myself doing this. However, I hear, based on probably Instagram posts and Twitter, that the rent is even fucking worse than it is in Toronto there. Like it's very expensive.
Oh yeah, it's very expensive. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like
There's this dude I saw this story on that he lives in Calgary and goes to UBC, and it's cheaper for him to fly from Calgary to Vancouver 3 times a week than it would be to live anywhere in the Lower Mainland.
Jesus Christ.
That's how expensive it is. Also, Calgary rent is super cheap. So but then you have to live in Calgary, which I love Calgarians, but good on you for living there, man.
Yeah. I've never been. That was actually my first time in Vancouver as well. So I born and raised here and didn't go much outside.
Yeah,
so.
It's like another country. No, I mean it's so far.
Yeah. It's like I think just like it's short. It's a shorter flight to Jamaica than it is to Vancouver. I think by quite a bit actually. So it's weird how big this country is, and most of the people live on the border with the States, which is, but yeah, dude, like, when I was flying in there, I was flying from the south, from Texas, right? So I went Texas to Denver to Vancouver. So I was flying right over the Rockies, and just that, I was like, holy shit, I had never seen that. Because I snowboard, and so, you know, the biggest place I've been to is like Mont Tremblant, which is like, you know, whatever, like a 6-hour drive from here, pretty big mountain compared to what we have in Ontario, which is like Blue Mountain. It's not even a mountain. It's more of like a bump or a hill. But I was looking at those mountains, and from the plane, I was like literally just like amazed. And I got there.
If you love snowboarding, you have to go out there. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy. You do runs, and you're like, I need a break like 3 times during the run because you're just your legs are on fire.
Where do they have Whistler, right? How close is that, or is that not? That's Vancouver, right?
I mean, it's like I think it's 3 hours north of Vancouver.
Okay, that's very doable.
Or it might be 2.5, maybe low.
Driving,
might be just 2 actually. I'm not sure. It depends when you are trying to get through those bridges, because sometimes those bridges just shut you right down.
Yeah. But what's do they have like snowboarding or skiing resorts?
They have so many. Yeah, I mean that's the best thing about
near the city.
The best thing about Vancouver is you're 15 minutes away from like every nature you could ever ask.
That's
for.
Awesome.
Yeah, they have. I think Grouse would be the. I think that's a ski hill. There's a Grouse Grind, which is a famous hike that people do, but there's definitely a couple of hills that are like right.
Yeah, because I saw people downtown walking around with their skis and on their back and shit like that.
I love that juxtaposition of just when you're downtown Vancouver and you see these giant high rises, and then right between them is a snow-peaked mountain. It's just such a beautiful scene.
That was amazing, because in Toronto that's not the case. It's city concrete jungle, and then you drive
flat.
Yeah, you have to drive through a bunch of fucking flat ass cornfields for a lot of hours to get to, like, I don't know, Algonquin Park or whatever. That's like fucking, what else? But there's some nice, like Canada is beautiful, and like as much as I want to like,
you're some edgy stuff you're throwing out there now.
What?
Canada is beautiful, man.
Yeah,
that's
man.
a fucking
a
lot of people against you on that one.
Hot take. No, but like I romanticized getting the fuck out of here and moving to Texas or whatever. But like I do want to see my own fucking country, because just going to Vancouver opened to my eyes to how little I've seen of my own country. Like I'm Canadian. I'm proud to be Canadian. I don't love everything that's going on here right now with the government and whatnot, and I do want to fucking get out of here and move to the States because of the business I'm in.
Yeah, you want to go somewhere where there's a better political climate.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just also I want to go somewhere where there's generally a better climate, but you know, winter's not 100%. Bad if you make the most out of it. But like Vancouver, I was like, holy shit, this is like unreal. And there's places you can go, like just in Quebec. Honestly, you don't have to go that far. Quebec is pretty nice. Yeah. Like the cliff faces and everything. So yeah, I don't know. But for the foreseeable future, I will be trying to become an American.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
What do you think about that?
I mean, number one country, right?
Number one kush, baby.
Number one.
Freedom. Yeah. It was so funny. I went there and I did open mics only. Yeah, and I watched some great shows, and what I noticed was that
this is in Texas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. was that it's a very different. Oh, I was in Austin, which is like it's because from what I heard from the people. Which, by the way, side note, people, you've been? I saw on your stories.
I went for.
Yeah,
I mean, it was just 4 days, but I loved it. Had a great time.
What did you think about the people?
I mean, I really only taking kind of how the audiences are, but
Okay.
They just seem really gung ho for comedy.
Yeah.
And I
How,
like that.
in general, your interactions, I found the people were so nice. People say Canadians are
friendly,
nice.
yeah.
I was like, what the hell is that? I was a little bit like abrasive coming in. I was like, okay, Americans, like, you know, they might be, they were so nice. Almost to the point where every Uber I was taking, these people were like, oh, where you're from? Canada, nice. This is like this building. If you want to get some good tacos, go here. I was like, dude, like just chill, stop talking. But like maybe it's because I live in Toronto and people say Canadians are nice. And, you know, Toronto's not necessarily representative of the rest of Canada. But I felt like the people were a million times nicer in Austin.
I mean, when you're on a trip too, it's very easy to just have kind of rose-colored glasses.
Yeah,
and
probably.
just
Yeah.
that whole thing. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think people are generally pretty nice in a lot of places.
Yeah.
The general population, as long as you don't, you know, especially if it's a sunny day and you're in a park, which is like usually what you're doing if
Yeah.
you're on a trip.
Yeah.
You're kind of going to the leisurely places where everyone's just kind of having a good day.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I also found it funny, like how, like from what the people told me is that Texas doesn't really claim Austin because it's like a very, you know, Republican state, but like a left wing more so city, right? Mm-hmm. And they have the whole slogan like "Keep Austin Weird" or whatever, right? So I did find it very, very comparable to like Toronto. Like there was literally like a little strip that was like, I'm like, dude, this is Kensington Market. Right. And like the culture there. So that was pretty cool. But as soon as you step on stage, people were like, I think I have one joke where I say like gay or I said retard once and everybody was like, oh yeah. Like that was pretty weird to go from Toronto crowds to that.
yeah. True.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, I definitely noticed. Like you see what words kind of fly in different comedy scenes. And yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, so you went. How long did you go for?
Just 4 days, but that
4
was
days?
It was just like it was my birthday, and I want to go see the UFC, and my wife and I went.
The fight night,
and
cool.
it was a great fight night. My first time going to a live UFC event.
Nice.
That was cool experience because I've been a fan for so many years, and then did some shows and just came back. But now I'm planning to set up a Texas tour.
Nice.
So hopefully in May I'm trying to pull that together.
Cool. Do that. That'd be sick. So you like the UFC? That's cool. I didn't know that. I'm a big UFC fan myself. Were you in Toronto when the Toronto event happened?
I was in Toronto. I wasn't at the event, but I was watching it through an illegal stream on my phone.
Yeah, cool. Me too, because if you were at the event, you had to shovel up a minimum of like, what was the cheapest ticket? Like $500 for like nosebleeds.
I think that'd be a good price. You
Yeah.
would have had to like sign in at 10 a.m. and get that price.
What I was planning was the day of, I was going to see if literally once because like, I don't think it's a secret. Even Dana White said after like UFC 298, he's like, the Toronto card sucked. He said it like all up.
I thought it was a great fight night. Because you never
The Toronto card?
Yeah, it was a great fight night. There was like people. I
The
watched
main event.
the fights.
The main
I enjoyed
event was
the fights.
good. The main event is
It was
good.
Sean
but-
Strickland's a great fighter, and he's got the charisma that to back it up. You know, who cares? I mean, of course, he's not saying politically correct things, but he's
Yeah.
a fighter.
Yeah.
Like, why would we expect political correctness from a man who just goes into an octagon to fight somebody?
I'm pulling up the card right now because it escapes my memory, but I remember enjoying
I
the
watched
main
it on my
event.
phone, and I remember because I was sitting in my car waiting to pick up my wife from this dinner that she was at, and she was taking a very long time, and I didn't mind at all.
Right.
So-
okay. So I only caught the 3 last fights, which would have been Mike Mallet versus Neil Magny. I remember Mallet was winning, dominating 2 rounds, and then lost because Neil Magny. I don't remember. Was it a submission?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then this fight, I remember being absolute.
Oh,
like,
that was trash.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was annoying. But
And
yeah,
come
'cause
on,
she was just
Raquel-
on her back and
Yeah.
just had her legs up and everything. But I guess the main event just saved it for me, and I watched the
Yeah.
whole lead up for. I watched all the videos about Duplessis
Yeah.
to find out who this guy was, and
Yeah.
it wasn't just like a nobody. Like, he has been he's been coming up forever. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, this is gonna be a great fight, and Sean Strickland is just great at shit talking. So if he gets
He's
his
also
ass,
so
if
entertaining.
he gets his ass kicked, you're like, great. If he wins, you're like, great.
Yeah.
Let's just see what happens.
I think Strickland Duplessis was the first main event where I didn't like even remotely lean towards one side or the other, because I'm like, Duplessis wins, that's great, he deserves it. I can't wait to see him fight like Izzy or something like that. And then Strickland wins, awesome, what a hilarious story. And there's like, even so much entertainment is going to come out of it. So I was like, both of these guys can win, I'll be just as happy. I usually wager a little bit on the main event, but I did not on that night. But the UFC 298, I was watching in the airport in Vancouver. That was a hell of a card. Again, I only caught I was fucking flying Flair Airlines, so I showed up like 3 hours early to the airport specifically because I knew I would want to watch this. So I didn't just like stick around at a bar or whatever. And they didn't let me in past so I missed the Henry Cejudo Dashvili fight, didn't watch that. Caught the end of Ian Gary winning, that was whatever, but Paulo Costa, Rob Whittaker, that was an unreal fight. Did you watch this card?
That was the main event of the
So good.
Yeah.
Robert Whittaker, I love that. Like, he's just like such a sweetheart. Every fight he's in, I'm pulling for him. But also Paulo Costa, he hasn't fought in a while. He had like some injury trouble. His last fight, he lost to that European guy. What's his name? I don't fucking remember, but happy for him. I don't know what he does next because he's fought Izzy. Do you think an Izzy rematch with Whittaker makes sense? Because he's fought him twice, and Izzy's on a bit of a skid.
I mean, yeah, but we could see. I hope Izzy pulls it back together. I really like when he is winning.
I think Izzy's gonna get a
he had
title
such an
shot.
epic speech on his last win when he was like, "Let me talk to the world," and he just went on such a tangent, and it was so like motivating. If you ever have somebody telling you can't, where everyone else is against you, just remember you can have a moment like this.
Yeah,
and it was just so motivating.
True, right? Yeah, where he's like, I hope everybody gets the chance to feel what I'm feeling right now at least once. Yeah, and then dude, main event, Volk again. I love Volk, but like. Lost to Makhachev and now to Topuria. That's a tough couple of bounces for him. But Topuria, bro, Spanish 15-0. I saw like Real Madrid was posting him on their Instagram of him like kicking the opening whatever. I'm not a soccer guy. I'm sorry, football guy. But I don't think. So UFC's done great in the US and in Canada, but that European market is a different animal. I don't know how much you've been to Europe, but like they go crazy there, like soccer, right? And all that shit, these stadiums, right?
Oh yeah, it's insane.
Like Real Madrid, their stadium in Madrid is something like the capacity is almost like 90,000, something like that.
Yeah, I lived in Madrid for like 6 months.
Yeah.
And when there would be a Clasico game like that, any game really, it would be dead. But during those games, it was as if an apocalypse had taken place. It was that level of quiet in the streets.
Yeah.
Because everybody's either at the
there.
game
Yeah.
or they're, sorry.
Oh, good. You're good.
They're either at the game or they're watching it in a bar somewhere.
Yeah, that's another level. And also like, I'm sorry for anybody I offended saying soccer. It's football. I know that. But, my bad. You lived in Madrid for 6 months?
Yeah, I did my exchange there at the end of school.
Shit. I was like, you've been to Vancouver, Madrid? Not bad.
I've traveled.
Yeah.
I like traveling. It's one of my favorite parts of comedy. And,
yeah, that is really cool to see places. But then again, like you're seeing, I really like that, you're doing shows at night because like during the day, you really get to see what wherever you are is about. But then you need to load up on the coffees because you're usually doing shows until pretty late. Where else have you been for comedy? That's like cool. Have you done shows in Europe?
Yeah. I did shows in Germany, Warsaw, or like Poland, like I've been to Berlin a couple times for shows. I obviously did the UK thing with doing Edinburgh, and then when I was really new, I went and did shows in Dublin and a few different spots. Yeah, and then one of the coolest spots I did most recently was South Africa. That was a cool place to do
That's really
comedy.
cool.
Culture is very, there's a lot of history, and it's just very, yeah. You just notice all the differences in the culture. It's a lot more.
South Africa, yeah.
Just when every building has barbed wire fencing with electricity barbed wire, it just has a different tone. And then it was very interesting because I did like this open mic there, and just to even watch what the comics are talking about, it just gives you insight into kind of this, obviously not full insight, but just their choices and the topics they pick that you don't see anywhere else is just really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. We were just talking about like the crowds in Toronto versus Texas versus like Europe, whatever, right? I completely agree. It's not like not total insight, but like seeing what comedians are saying in a given scene, right?
Yeah, there was like 3 comics that had a joke about getting robbed at knife point.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, okay, this is that.
Yeah.
This is hack here.
Yeah. Yeah. This is hack. Yeah.
You just got robbed at knife point. Hack.
Yeah. TTC or like in whatever, like Texas would be like calling liberals gay. Yeah, that was, I didn't see a lot of people do poorly in Texas because the crowds were very into it, but there was this one girl that went up and literally her whole act was just calling liberals gay in like multiple different ways, which was, like even there, like crowds have their limits, but like you definitely see what that the people living in a certain area kind of like what's on their psyche, right? It's a kind of like a little window into their lives, which is pretty cool on both sides. You can watch comedy, what the comedians are saying. Also, as a comedian, like I talked about this with Sam Morrill actually, which was like pretty fucking cool. But like you have an hour of material in Toronto, right? Or Toronto comics. Like I guess a very seasoned professional comic would have an hour anywhere, right? Like call it evergreen material, right? But like I learned very quickly because this was one of my first like actual proper trips. Like I did a show when I was in Amsterdam. I did a show and the crowd was very different. I did fine, whatever. But I learned very quickly that not all your jokes are going to work everywhere you go. So that hour of material, right, that I have, for example, say I have like 20 minutes in Toronto, that might be fucking 5 minutes in Texas or whatever, right? So like the key is writing that like those evergreen jokes that everybody can just relate to. And sometimes that, that was cool to see. And I guess you just learn through experience.
Yeah, those experiences change the way you write because then you start to change. I mean, sometimes you just go with you need a bit that you just love just because you're like, fuck it, this is ridiculous. Yeah. Which, we all have those, but also there is a thought that comes in now and goes, what is the value of this joke? You see somebody do a TTC joke and you're like, okay, you could maybe translate that to a public transit joke and then apply that in every city. But then when you do the road and you do a small town, like then that bit's dead, so it's, different settings. And then you either have to build the context in a funny way that brings them into the world, or you just go, well, let's talk about something more universal. Yeah,
universal, relatable, and that's exactly it. Like I do have a TTC joke, and I'm like, okay, I'm obviously not going to do it in Texas, but there is a part of that joke that is more general that I was able to translate to Texas, right? Like without just saying TTC, because again, like if you're talking about the TTC, those seats, they sure are red, like that's not going to work. But like if you're talking about somebody fucking with a Leafs jersey, like crackhead with a Leafs jersey but no pants, that's translatable because it's like, okay, you're in a public setting, there's somebody who has something expensive but no pants, and it's like, whatever. That's a specific example. It might not be my actual bit, but that's it was a very cool lesson to learn, and again through experience, right? So that's like you can say these things, but until you actually live it yourself, you don't really get it in there. That's cool though. I do want to go back to Europe more. I was in Amsterdam and I was in Spain as well, in Barcelona. But
Nice.
man, how do you find the crowds in Europe?
I mean,
Maybe I have to summarize them, you know.
when I was in Germany, those crowds were sick. It was really fun. They were just, it felt like they were giving way more to everything than, like, jokes that weren't getting applause breaks back home were getting applause breaks. So that was confusing. But I know, obviously, you know, if it was sick, it was enjoyable, really fun to perform there. I haven't done enough of the rest of like Europe, at least. Yeah. Even recently. I mean, I did shows in France, but those were, I think, expats that were living there. Right. So
there's also a bit of a language barrier because the only European place I've done is Amsterdam, but it was an all English show, and there was a woman from Texas and a dude from like Canada. So it was
But doing Edinburgh was like, that was the hardest thing in comedy I've ever done is doing that festival. It's just mentally was one of the hardest things to actually push through. I aged that.
Why is that?
You could see in my content, my eye getting more and more swollen because of what this festival was doing to me. It was just insane. For anyone that doesn't know, it's the biggest fringe festival in the world, and you do shows every single day for 28 days. And I was producing 2 shows with a couple friends, but producing 2 shows. So we had my co-headline show and then a compilation show happening. One was at 3 p.m. The other one was at 11:30 p.m. So you have to flyer to try to get people into your shows unless you're famous, which I was not. Mm-hmm. And so you have to flyer to get people into shows. That means I was getting up at like 10:30 a.m. To get down to where the show was by noon, to flyer for 2 hours, then do the show, then grab something to eat, then do other spots around town, because you'll do anywhere between minimum 2 but up to 8 to 10 shows in a day. And so you just run around doing spots, eating whenever you can, and then I do my show I'm flyering for the show from 9:30 to 11:30, do the show at 11:30, that ends at 12:30. I get home at 1:30 p.m. or 1:30 a.m., maybe 2 if I take a little bit longer, 2 a.m., and then I got to be up again at 10 to do it all again. And you do that every day for
like a month?
Literally a month. And every audience you deal with is not a regular audience. They're different. Yeah. Most times we do comedy and everyone, maybe half that audience, it's their first show in a year or 6 months. Some people, it's their first show ever. And that's the excitement that comes into it. In the Fringe, it could be their 5th show they're seeing that day. Yeah,
so even the audience have like laps on them. They're like seasoned.
So you're already dealing with that. And then also people are from all over, which is helpful, for your comedy brain because usually you do crowd work and you know where everyone's from, or you can kind of region and figure it out. But you're getting somebody from, like, I don't know how many jokes you have about Lithuania, but there's someone from there, and then there's Romania, there's just anything that, South Africa, there's a bunch of different, it's more global audience that's all in the same room. And so you're all trying to pull them together. And as if that wasn't already hard, because it was our first time at this festival, they gave us this room that was basically a closet. It could fit 20 people in it max, but the problem was they didn't have proper ventilation, and they had these big halogen stage lights. So that room within 5 to 10 minutes would go up to like 35 degrees Celsius, which is like 95, I think, I don't know in Fahrenheit, but it's hot.
It's hot.
People are sweating, and people that are sweating and hot are the hardest to make laugh. So everything just stacked against you, and doing it every night. And you literally, and everyone's experiencing this too, you look around in the first week of the Fringe, and every comic, no matter where they're from, is looking at each other, and it's like a bomb went off. It's just, it's just literally everyone's looking, it's just like the debris is going, and you're like, that's what the look is in everyone's face. And man, but then after like the first 2 weeks, you're getting through it, then you're starting to learn the the different cultures, how to pull them all together. And the UK style of humor is different, like the taste. They really like structure, so your bits start to really develop because you're doing so much. You're doing a week of stage time every night.
Yeah,
it's insane, right?
Yeah.
So these bits you can go in the same night. You go through that full roller coaster of a new bit to I hate this bit to it's starting to grow again, all in one night. So
that's
crazy.
cool. And this is the Fringe Festival.
Yeah, the Edinburgh Fringe Festival.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was nuts. I'll never do it again.
Yeah, but good experience.
I mean, I've done it twice, so I'm like, now I'm done. But I mean, I would go back if I knew I could sell like at least like 3,000 tickets while I'm there. Then I would go and do a run. But we'll get there eventually, hopefully. Yeah. And I'm not going out there to flyer again.
Yeah. Would you say that made you better overall, or was it like so much? Yeah, okay.
No, it was a worth it experience. It really makes you, it cauterizes you as a human, like as a performer. By that seventh, eighth show, you are so fluid on stage. You're just what you are.
Yeah.
There's just nothing. The inhibitions are just so far gone at that point, and you get to a level of depth that I don't know if you can reach it in many comedy scenes.
Yeah, that is true, and that's something I noticed in Austin. Like two things happened to me there. It was amazing. I was literally living my dream for like a month, right? And just doing spots after like 3-4 spots a night. I was booked like minimum like doing one show a night, and then from there you'd go to, because they have that whole 6th Street, you'd like pop in whatever, like Sunset, Velveeta Room, whatever, right? So I was doing, compared to here, which is not the case, I'm lucky if I'm doing one spot a night, right? So I'm like, okay, fuck, that was the first realization. I have to get my ass over here, because 1 year here in Austin for me would be like fucking, I don't know, 5-6 years back in Toronto in terms of development, right? But then there was another thing that I was like, there is so much talent in Toronto, I feel like, and I don't know, I didn't really go that deep into the Austin scene or whatever, but like it's a really great place to just kind of develop in the shadows, because there's so many like hilarious people to learn from and just to hang out with, and the stage time that you do get and the audiences that you do get, I feel like you really have to earn your laughs here, and really like you develop here, but day to day, these shows that I'm doing, at least, they don't fucking matter. Like, you can do whatever, just be yourself, get better, right? And it's not like there's like somebody in the back of the room, watching you that'll no, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Who cares? So 100%. It's just such a good like training ground. And I feel like where I am, like kind of, I got those two things. It was cool to see what's possible. And I got back and I'm like, okay, just fucking develop in the shadows. And that sounds like to me, like sounds like something I would love to do, the Fringe Festival. I'll note that down after this, because like, I'm trying to rack up as much experience as I can right now, because like I feel I major imposter syndrome everywhere I go. I feel like I'm getting all these cool opportunities, and I'm like, from the outside, like everything's going okay. I feel like maybe I'm doing okay, but in my head I'm like, man, like, what are you even doing? Like, what are you doing? Like, so yeah, that's where I'm at in terms of like stage time. That sounds like it was great. But yeah, I guess I want to do that. I want to go through that hell.
I always tell people just go for the last 2 weeks. If you, like, unless you're trying to really make a career in the UK, just go for the last 2 weeks and do as many spots as you can. Treat it like a vacation. Because doing it the way I did it was that's what I did the first time, and I really enjoyed it. Actually, I went for the full run, but I wasn't producing shows. I was just doing spots, and that was great. But I highly recommend people just go for the last 2 weeks when people start dropping like flies, because some people are partying each night and just can't maintain the stamina.
Yeah, no.
Imagine you party till 6 a.m. and then you got to go flyer at 10:30. This is not happening, And then your body takes a hit, and then people drop like flies, and then you swoop in on those spots. That's why the last 2 weeks is good. Yeah. But yeah, man, it's worthwhile. It's just it was hard.
That honestly, it sounds like a fucking hell week, like that Navy SEAL hell week. Like, you go through it, but you come out new version of yourself, a better version.
There's good camaraderie too amongst the comics, especially once you go through the full run together.
Is that where you met Ari by any chance? Because he's a European guy.
I met him in Vancouver. He was living in Vancouver when I lived out there, and we become friends there. And then we hung out a lot during the Fringe. Both, or would it have been both times? Yeah, both times I went. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And you said before in Toronto there was like more mics you can do or whatever, like pre-pandemic, I guess. And I hear so many comics that were around pre-pandemic talking about this, like that the scene was just different. It was like, and I hear some people say it's better now, but I mostly hear people saying the opposite. So
well, I because we always value stage time over everything, and there's just way less stage time now because there aren't a bunch of comics running open mics at dive bars. It could be because a lot of the dive bars died during the pandemic. Yeah, could be part of it.
Would you say crowds are also less eager to come out? Like it's harder to get a crowd?
Maybe. I mean, everyone's getting hit with the bill of the pandemic right now. So, people are trying to save money and inflation's really hitting people. So that's part of it, I guess. But there weren't a lot of those open mics didn't have people at them, like actual audience members.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but you're still, when you're a new comic, you're working on different things. Like those gears that you hit when there are just comics in the room are what comes in. That same muscle becomes super useful when you're on the road and circumstances are so far outside of the ideal circumstances. You hit that professional energy, you force it, you create that professional performance, and you get it done. And those open mics helped with developing that muscle. And I do feel that sometimes, like when I am at a shitty open mic and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? I'm like, okay, I have these bits I have to get out, just do it, and get out, right? And I'm sometimes like, man, is this helping me? Because like sometimes you really, like what I'm scared of is having a good bit and getting discouraged because I did it at an open mic in front of, 3 comics, right? And being like, fuck, maybe that wasn't that good. But realistically, it's not a gauge. So it's a whole game you play with, like, having access to great audiences all the time. That's great because you can actually test out material on them. But then again, if you're doing that all the time in front of packed audiences, you want to put on a good show. And then if you get to a certain level, which is, a great problem to have, but if you have like a huge following and they'll laugh at anything you say, how do you craft a joke then? So everybody has their own problems at every level, but it's a fucking it's a business. It's it's like each one offers you a different, I mean, it's just a workout, right? Like you're literally working on different muscles in different places. So you gain from, not your crowd, you gain from your crowd. You gain from just the hard shows. You gain from all of it.
The great shows.
So it all helps, even though it's, comedy.
Comedy. All right. It's a good little cap there. Thanks for talking, Andrew. It was fun.
Thanks for having me, Matt.
Plug whatever you want to plug. And you guys know this guy. Look at this. Man News right there.
Man News.
Andrew Packer.
Fall for more Man News. Even if you're a wool man. We're happy to have you.
The Woo Men
are some of them.
Are welcome.
And check out my comedy special on YouTube, On Guard.
Yeah, check out the comedy special. Boom. Thanks for listening. See you next time.